Hello to all of those awesome artists out there watching this. Today we're going to be creating a caterpillar on a leaf. Brand new project. We probably will not be able to finish it today, but we can get started. So let's talk about the supplies you're going to need. A green sheet of paper, a yellow sheet of paper. Now remember, if you don't have green or yellow, just use two sheets of white paper, and then after you've drawn what you need to draw on these, color on top of your white papers with the appropriate color crayon. You're also going to need a pencil and a black marker as well. Additionally, how about two different kinds of glue? You can see here I've got a glue stick and the white glue. I'll be using both for this project. And then there's a pipe cleaner. And again, if you don't have a pipe cleaner, that's totally okay. You can just use paper, or you can not use the pipe cleaner at all, and the project will still come out great. Also, I'm going to be using some googly eyes. If you don't have that, that's okay too. We'll just be using a black marker to make eyes. And a hole punch. If you don't have a hole punch, don't worry, it's not 100% necessary for this project. Additionally, you're going to need a pair of scissors as well. Also, you're going to need some tape and a ruler. These are all of the art supplies that I'll be using from start to finish. We won't be using them all for this rotation. I just wanted you to know what we'll be using for this entire project so that if you don't have something this rotation, you might be able to get it or be better prepared for next rotation. And don't forget, everything is going to be listed in Seesaw. So if you missed anything, go ahead and reference Seesaw. All right, let's begin. Let's start off with a green sheet of paper. You want it landscape, longest sides on the top and the bottom, and we're going to be drawing a nice leaf, or if you prefer to think of it that way, an oval with a point on the end. Okay, so let's get out a pencil and we're going to draw lightly. We're not going to push down hard, and we're going to draw a curved line that is round on the right side and comes back to a point. Make sure it connects. And I know what you're thinking, I can barely see that, Mr. Guerra, so it's time to get out your black marker and trace very carefully on top of your pencil lines. Go nice and slow. There's no need to race. I want you to do the best job you can. So make sure that you are drawing right on top of your pencil line. You don't have to be perfect, so if you don't do it exactly on top of the pencil line that you drew, that's okay. If the leaf doesn't look like you want it to in pencil, erase it. That's why we use pencil first, so that if you make any mistakes, you can erase them and keep going. But for now, I'm going to keep tracing. Notice how slow I'm going. Want to be very precise. And with my free hand, I am holding the paper very carefully in place so it doesn't move around as I'm drawing. Great. Okay, so I've got my leaf shape. Now it's time for some interior leaf details. So I'm going to draw a horizontal line right through the center from the left to the right. I'm not going to let the line touch any of the leaf outlines. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make some smaller curved lines like backwards letter C's. So I'm going to curve. There we go. So that's the biggest one. Next one's going to be a little bit smaller. Another curved line. Great. How about one more? Even smaller. Now it's looking like a leaf. I like it. Maybe just one more really tiny. Boop. Done. It's looking great. Now the only thing that I can do to make this look any better is to reinforce the lines. I'm going to make these lines double thick. I'm going to go all the way around my leaf. And the video is going double speed now. So don't think that I was going this fast. I was actually going pretty slow, making sure that this double line to make the leaf outline nice and thick is looking great and looking the way that I want it to. I'm doing this, of course, so that when it comes time to cut it out, grab a pair of scissors. When it comes time to cut it out, I've got a nice thick line to cut out from. So with your scissors, notice that I'm holding this paper with my free hand as I cut, and I'm turning the paper with my free hand as I go around the right side where it's curved, and I'm cutting very carefully to make sure that I've got my leaf shape intact, and we're almost done right to the front. Boom! I've got my leaf. Looks great. I can recycle this scrap paper and I'm ready to continue on to the next step. Now remember, we're making this final project. We're going to need to go to the yellow paper next and make it into strips and round it to make the body of the caterpillar. So get out your yellow paper. Again, you want it to be landscape. Longest sides on the top and the bottom. Now let's grab the left two corners and fold our paper in half, kind of like a book. So I'm going to fold it over until the two corners meet. The left corners meet the right corners. Hold it very carefully and give it a nice crease. There we go. Now that you have that done, let's go ahead and grab the two bottom corners and fold it in half a second time. Nice. Looks good. So now you've got this little mini rectangle, which is what we want. I'm going to open up my paper back again, still landscape. And what I want to do is I want to cut out this rectangle first. So I got to get my scissors again. And I'm going to very carefully cut right along my folded lines. Now look what I did. I rotated the paper because that's easier for my hand to cut. So if you want to move your paper around as you cut to get the best angle, so it's the most comfortable for your hands, for your wrist, for the way that you cut, go ahead and move your paper around all you need to. All right, so I've got one rectangle. I've cut that top right rectangle out. I'm not going to recycle the paper yet because I still need to use the yellow paper, but now I will get my ruler and I'm going to measure it up to the left side, hold it down with my free hand, and just lightly drag my pencil vertically down the paper. Now look very closely at what I'm doing. Every time I draw a line, I'm going to slide my ruler over to the line that I just drew, making sure that it's nice and level, and I'm going to draw another line and another until I run out of paper. So now I've got these columns drawn onto my yellow paper that are exactly as wide as my ruler. It's time to now cut these out into strips, and these strips are what we're going to use to create our caterpillar's body. But first we've got to cut them out. So very carefully, I've got my scissors out once again, and I'm holding the paper, and I am cutting super slow, making sure I'm right on the pencil lines that I drew. And on this last piece, I'm going to have a little bit of an extra scrap. I don't need that, so I'm going to recycle that too. And that leaves me with 4 rectangular pieces of yellow paper. Let's get that big piece of yellow paper that we cut from back out again. And I need one more rectangle, so I'm going to cut again to get this second rectangle separated from the rest of the paper. I'm done with my yellow paper, so you can choose to reuse it or recycle it, but I'm going to do the same thing. Now, if you're one of my lefty artists, if you're an artist who uses their left hand instead of their right to draw, I want you to go in the reverse direction. Start from the right side and work your way over to the left, and that should be much, much easier for you. But chances are you probably already knew that because you're all a bunch of smart artists. Okay, let's keep going. I need 4 more of these skinny yellow bars to create my caterpillar's body. I don't think I'm going to quite use all 8 because remember, these 4 are going to be added to the other 4 you just cut out. But I do want to have enough just in case because we're all going to probably have slightly different sizes of leaves. So I've got my leaf. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. We're pretty much done for today's class. We're kind of out of time, so I want you to gather these up together and put them somewhere super safe in your creative corner so you don't accidentally throw them away. And next week we're going to keep working until we've completely finished our caterpillar on a leaf. Please do not work ahead. Make sure that you have your art supplies put away. Time to clean up.